Hey, Todd.
Hey,
Friday!
what's up? Everybody's favorite day.
I love that your daughter calls it Friday.
Friday. Yeah, she even has like a little sign in her bedroom that says Friday. But every day is Friday for them right now because it's summer vacation.
That's awesome. Summer's here. Kids are home.
Mm-hmm.
I think mine are playing in the pool. They're having a good time. Yeah, it's good times, except for the allergies.
Yeah.
We're working on it. We're working on
eyes and everything.
I'll tell you what, Todd, we have a juicy one today. Brains fully attentive. Got to turn them on. This is a good question. What are the characteristics of a high-performing Scrum team? And actually, why would someone ask Todd and I that question? Well, we're both professional Scrum trainers with Scrum.org. We've spent the better part of the past 20 years working with teams in all sorts of industries and verticals and horizontals and startups and Fortune 100. So we've seen a lot. We've done a lot. We've screwed up a ton. We captured all that in our book, Fixing Your Scrum. Yeah, we've screwed up a lot. Check out the book if you want to read about how silly Todd and I have been with Scrum and what we would do to fix past Ryan and past Todd. At least the things we did, perhaps not fix ourselves. But anyways, you get the point. But in the past 20 years, Todd, we've seen a lot that would lead us to have a good understanding, I think, of high-performing Scrum teams. Mm-hmm. What are the things you look for?
Yeah, so just to be clear, because it's such a Todd thing to do. Now I'm talking about myself in third person. I wanted to make sure that I had the definition of characteristic correct, right? Yeah. So characteristic, just a quick Google, is a feature or quality belonging typically to a person, place, or thing, and serving to identify it, right? So I'm going to start with one straight away. A characteristic of a high-performing team, an emphasis on quality.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I think quality is one of those table stakes things, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's another one. I'm going to move to kind of a different space. I think quality and delivery are kind of like, that's baseline. Mm-hmm. But you know what? Even a low mature team or a low performing team can ship something. Mm-hmm. Right. And so with quality raises that bar a bit. So I like that you call that out.
Yep.
I want to throw a few characteristics out there and see what you think. How about integrity?
Yeah. I like
right?
It.
So this, with their yeses are yeses, their nos are nos. They act with transparency, right? Mm-hmm. They're open to feedback. They're open to the idea they could be wrong. I think integrity leads to living the Scrum values.
Yeah, I think there's a really good one. That's a really good one.
I think there's a mix there. I also think kind of the cousin of integrity here would be like personal responsibility. Mm-hmm. And team and like accountability, right? They take responsibility for their actions. They're accountable for the things that they've committed to, such as a sprint goal or to be a great teammate, not scope, but to be a great teammate. Like, I think integrity, responsibility, quality, these are things that you see in very high performing Scrum teams.
They trust each other.
Yep.
Trust, I think, is a really important one. And I think all around the edges of everything that we're saying here is them exhibiting the Scrum values.
Yeah.
Right. Which is easier said than done. So delivering and exhibiting the Scrum values. But yeah, you know, something else I've seen characteristic. Got to be honest with you. They have fun.
Yes. Yep. They definitely have fun.
Yeah, there's like, I don't know why, but I was stuck on this thing in my head for a while where I would go into organizations and be working with Scrum teams. And one of the first things I would sit and I'd listen for is if there was laughter throughout the day, like just like a little bit of joking around, just having fun while doing the work, right? Teams that were really quiet, that you wouldn't hear a peep from, I sometimes feel like I have my work cut out for me, right? Yeah. It's okay to be professional and have some fun, right? We should like what we do.
Totally agree. I think the last thing I'll mention here is that high performance is a function of leadership, right? So what I would also like, a characteristic of a high performing team, one of the characteristics of that team would be a leadership team, a management team that is committed to providing autonomy, mastery, and purpose. They set higher goals and expect and teach teams how to execute based off of goals, not just step-by-step direction. They give the teams the true ability to decide how best to do their work, right? So they keep, autonomy and purpose at the forefront through product goals, sprint goals, larger organizational goals. But then they also, this mastery, this idea of the teams have opportunities to improve their craft, to improve their skills, to sharpen each other. And I think when we see kind of the team characteristics that we talked about, coupled with management and leadership who realize that the way that they show up will largely influence whether or not high performance is possible, I think that's when we see great things.
Yeah. Yeah, this is making me like go down memory lane in my brain right now. Right, like just thinking about a one team too. I know we're running here on time, but almost like competitively learning.
Yeah,
like they'd come into work and we'd all just sit down and be like, "Yeah, would you code last night?" Like working on a side project or something like that. So it's like we're almost competitive learning, but in a good, fun spirited way. So,
and maybe learning is another one of those characteristics that we'll end on. Todd, I know that you and I are both like voracious learners, and there's always a stack of books somewhere behind me that dwindles every once in a while, but usually gets added to. We're constantly reading, we're constantly researching. I think that's a sign of, it's just a habit I picked up working with amazing people, right? Yeah. I realized I couldn't keep up with these super bright people unless I was reading and learning and thinking. And so I think you bring all these things together, you mash them up, you spin them around, and I think that creates an opportunity for high performance, but it's not a guarantee, right?
Isn't.
Sometimes there's just a little serendipity that has to get mixed in too.
Yeah.
All right, another excellent question from our community. We thank you so much for that. I'm going to switch us over to the end screen where you can like and subscribe. Please like and subscribe. It's a great way to stay in touch with the show, to make sure that you know when we're dropping a new Scrum Guide 2020 analysis video, fixing your agile metrics, fixing your agile coaching, craft brewed agile, fixing your Scrum, fixing your Kanban. All of these are going to be flowing out along, and maybe even some more ideas along the way. Like and subscribe so you never miss one of them. Check out the videos below, handpicked just for you by the YouTube algorithm. We hope you like them. Let us know in the comments. If you have questions, keep it up. Let us know. Enjoy your Friday. Friday.
Friday.
Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers, everybody.